Hey everyone, welcome back to the Psychedelic Art Exchange YouTube channel. Okay, so we have this amazing collector's showcase auction live right now that is just so packed with cool stuff that we had a hard time narrowing down what we wanted to show you today. Honestly, we probably would have talked about all 73 lots if we had the time and the opportunity. So I'm just going to get the boring stuff out of the way. The auction is live until Sunday, June 7th at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And let's get right into these really cool pieces of music history on paper.
Yeah, I think Katie summed it up. This sale is completely stacked, and
Yeah.
it was impossible to even figure out what to talk about. So, we talk about music and posters, and here we go. So, I mean, this one really needs no further explanation. 1969 Led Zeppelin, but
Mm-hmm.
um, Katie, you dug a little deeper in this.
Well, we've talked about it before on here because we were lucky enough to offer another example a little less than a year ago. But the one that we offered before was a little more beat up than this one. This one's in amazing condition. We graded it a near mint 89, and it is very hard to find any flaws. But this was an important show because it was Led Zeppelin's first North American tour. They actually played for 4 nights, even though only 3 nights are listed. And there was just like a huge amount of fan demand, so they added a fourth night where they ended up playing, I think, like a 4 hour set, even though they only had one album's worth of material. But they like pulled out a lot of covers, Beatles tunes, Elvis tunes. And it was remembered like fondly by John Paul Jones as the key Zeppelin gig, the one that put everything into focus. And so, what more can you say about that?
I mean, yeah, the Boston Tea Party must have been a special place because many artists describe, it as being like the place to, the Allman Brothers loved it, and the venue promoters loved the Allman Brothers and were responsible for their trajectory. There's a great Allman Brothers poster that in the series, and there's a couple of just amazing stuff from the era, right place there. But this one, I mean, Led Zeppelin became the biggest thing in rock and roll. So simple
Yeah,
design, but the paper is in nearly perfect condition.
yeah, this is special.
So anyhow, moving along, we shall go on to the 1966 Grateful Dead peace rock poster. Harmon Gym at Berkeley. It was a Vietnam War Committee event. I mean, $2. It's yeah, I mean, this is early '66, like black and white, very simple. Russ the Moose Syracuse, a DJ personality, was the MC. It's this is the early days of the Grateful Dead. It doesn't get much more, homespun than this. And this poster doesn't come up often. It's been only offered for public sale and auction a handful of times. And this is a really nice copy considering its age and scarcity.
Yeah,
And so that's a piece. And then we have this, and since we're in Grateful Dead corner right now, this is Grateful Dead Hollywood Bowl 72. This was Pigpen's last show. He had,
ooh,
yeah, it was, he'd been ill for some time. He pulled it together to do Europe 72, and it was just he had liver disease caused by an autoimmune disorder, and he was dead by March of the following year from a gastrointestinal hemorrhage. And but this he was the Grateful Dead, 66 through 70, and then the illness got to him, but he was still and anyhow, so Pig's last show, Pacific Presentations, which was sort of the beginning of big rock shows. It was this logo shows up on a bunch of posters, but this is a really nice one and an important event, and so there you have it.
I just noticed we got a bit of a 27 club theme happening when you pull out this next one.
Oh, geez. Wow. All right. So, the 27 Club. We have a little theme. All right. So, yeah. So, Janis.
Just for two posters, but yeah.
It's Janis in '69, where she was, on her solo, billed as Janis, and what was she with, like Full Tilt Boogie or something, and it was, not her greatest period, and especially this show, from my understanding, was not great. She was wasted, and it was not remembered as one of her greater performances. But it's cardboard. It's Janis at Madison Square Garden, pink and orange, and it's, yeah. This has always been a hot poster. This is a really important poster for top collectors of this stuff, and yeah, it's a really decent copy too.
I know you all like this one because everyone got excited when it got posted
Yeah,
on the internet.
it's one of those like must-have posters if you're trying to get all the rock gods of the psychedelic era. This is, again, it doesn't place her exactly, at the height of her talent, but it's an amazing piece.
Yeah,
And this one, because this is this is
this
a
is a
poster that
favorite.
yeah, we love to talk about it. I mean, this copy is laminated, so it's not in the hottest condition. But if you're looking for a reasonably affordable copy of this that's original, this is it. It's Warhol and the Plastic Inevitable hit L.A., and the Roy Lichtenstein reference in the artwork, and the Campbell Soup Kids, and it's fun little poster.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely talked about this one before, but like I said, it's just one of our favorites because it's kind of a funny story. I mean, this was pre Velvet Underground releasing Velvet Underground and Nico. That wouldn't come out until the next year, but Andy Warhol was, you know, the mastermind behind all of it, essentially. Although they did outgrow him at a certain point, he did he has an era with the band, but he isn't like the entirety of the band. But Velvet Underground and Nico were a part of this Plastic Inevitable show, Exploding Plastic Inevitable, which was like a multimedia thing that I guess did pretty well when they did it in New York. And then they went to California and they sort of ended up clashing with the culture there. They didn't really care for it as much. I mean, you just reminded me about the amazing Cher quote because she went to see this show along with like a lot of other famous people, and she was like, "The Velvet Underground won't replace anything except maybe suicide."
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It wasn't grooving with the Southern California, flower power mamas and papas kind of thing that was going on. It's
yeah,
and
which was further,
yeah,
seen when because the BG8 show,
right,
which happened this same month but later on, which was also the same thing but with the mothers, right?
right.
And it was the mothers saved the show because everyone hated
Yeah,
whatever
the
this
the
was.
hippies the hippies in San Francisco wanted nothing to do with this, and yeah, I guess that was the beginning of the Lou Reed Frank Zappa rivalry battle. Zappa wins in my opinion, but it's but
I
this
don't
is,
even
yeah,
think that there should
yeah.
be a competition between the two
I'm
because
just,
they're
yes.
not even remotely comparable.
It's so
But
weird. It's yes, okay, but still, I'm just picking sides. But
no,
yeah,
yeah,
and
fair.
not taking anything away from Lou. But yeah, the early Velvet Underground. This is right where it's at. This is, yeah, great poster, and goes for tens of thousands of dollars, and in mint condition. But here's your chance.
Yep.
So this thing, I mean, this poster works for me. This is two guitar gods. This, again, time machine. I would go check this out. I mean, Mahavishnu and Jeff Beck after he recorded Blow by Blow, and John McLaughlin. John McLaughlin played with Miles in a silent way, and Bitches Brew and Jack Johnson. I mean, Miles invented fusion, where McLaughlin went and did his own thing. Again, a spectacular, amazing guitar player. I've seen him a couple times, luckily, and then Jeff Beck, who, again, of all the rock guitar players, is of the most impressive. I can't imagine the guitar power on this tour.
Yeah,
But
this is one of those posters that like we think is really cool because we like guitar so much. And we encourage you to take a
well,
look
yeah,
at
I
it
mean,
a little bit further.
yeah, I've spent hours listening to these records, the Mahavishnu records, and Jeff Beck, and where they cross over, the Jeff Beck with Jan Hammer group. That's like a crazy wonderful. That's like one of the best live albums ever. But so yeah, this is just music geek, guitar geek corner, and we had to put it in because it speaks to us.
Yeah, the jazz fusion guys, the jazz fusion guitar guys, two of them.
I mean, yeah, Mahavishnu, Billy Cobham, and Jean Luc Ponty was on this tour, and it was just, alumni from miles. It's a wonderful history. If
Yeah,
we've had a few fusion pieces show up in our sale in recent weeks, and they've had some response, but
yeah.
it's anyhow, blah blah blah. Anyhow, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Oh, it's cardboard corner time.
Mm.
And we have a big one here. This is the 1957 show of Stars with Fats Domino and Chuck Berry. This is, this is, Globe poster, birth of rock and roll. This biggest show of Stars was something that was promoted by Irvin Feld. Irvin Feld, who also promoted and produced Ringling and Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus. So this was a big deal. And this was one leg of the tour. The other leg of the tour had Buddy Holly and the Crickets on it. And I mean, again, we talk about Globe posters a lot. This is one of the really hot rock and roll pieces. You got Chuck Berry in 57. You don't need to say really much more than that. The show on the other leg of the tour that was supposed to stop in Washington D.C. was canceled because the mayor thought there would be riots because of Fats Domino, and
Wow.
and they moved it to Cars Beach, which was a segregated beach in Annapolis, Maryland. So
Wow.
yeah, this is again uh, this is a long time ago, and we've come a long way in some ways. But yeah, this is rock and roll history, and it's American history. And the cardboard stuff is so rare, and it's fire. So if you're really into, posters as a hobby in itself, you need to own one of these heavy globe posters
Mhm.
if you can find them.
Yeah, the Dayglow ink, and it's got all of its pieces intact. It's not missing paper.
No, this is, I mean, we get some of that are pretty chewed up, and people still pay money for them because they're just painfully scarce. Just, uh, you know, this is one to go for if that's something you're looking at.
Yeah, we've been finding some cool Fats Domino stuff lately, and it's been
Yes.
doing pretty decently. So,
No, this is the first era of rock and roll. Now, this poster I chose because it's awesome. It just, the design, and it's, screen printed on cardboard. This is a good piece, and it needs to be shown because the size of it, and it's just striking. So
yeah, the colors are really great too. I mean, I don't know that there's a whole lot to be said about it in general, other than it just looks cool. But James Gang was, Joe Walsh's career starter.
yeah, that was his
Um,
springboard. Yeah.
yeah, and this was the year that he left the band. By the end of this year, this was, I guess, one of his final shows with the band. Um,
Before he went on to
and
the Eagles.
yeah, and had his solo career and everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but this is a really cool poster, and it's cardboard.
yeah. Just for great design, great poster, and really solid condition. This is this is all there. Anyhow, yeah. Anyhow, here's the Colby poster.
Oh,
This is
that's the
yeah,
Colby
yeah,
poster. Okay, maybe I
yeah.
was wrong on the last one.
No, yeah. But still, we need to talk about this because the Clash.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. This was like later in the Clash's career. I think they only released one more album and were only around for a couple more years. But Los Lobos is on there, and they've been around longer than the Clash.
Uh,
They've been
yeah,
around
that
since
like
'73.
50 plus years. They're awesome. I mean, Los Lobos is just one of the greatest American bands ever. And God, I mean, David Hidalgo is one of my favorite players, and could just sings remarkably well. I mean, it's such a treasure, and and they're still going strong, and they're still killing it.
Mhm.
It's they are worth seeing still. I mean, they're playing smaller clubs, but they had their they had their trajectory. They started in LA in the whiskey and the early punk scene with the Blasters and X, and they have their rock and roll heart, and then they had their hit with La Bamba, and they're just some of the greatest records and some of the best players ever. I can not say enough about that band.
Yeah, and Malcolm McLaren is on this poster randomly. Had like a weird little hip hop moment
Yeah,
career at a time.
it's really
um,
strange. I mean, that's why I pulled this, because it just seems kind of you know,
it is strange, but it is very cool looking, and it's the Clash and
eh,
Los Lobos.
in Southern
Um,
California. This
yeah,
is
in Southern California.
yeah, yeah. So out of the cardboard world into
Oh
the
yes, we
grade
must
yeah,
discuss
the graded posters.
CGC.
Yes, I mean, as anyone who's paying close attention, this is a sale where we combine the hottest CGC titles with some of the hottest, you know, paper stuff. And really, the BG1 is one of the most important posters of all, but this is in high grade and a 9/8. This was the first ever Bill Graham at the Fillmore show. And it's, those of you that don't know the story, this is an OP2. There were two original pre concert versions. This one, um, omitted the artist credit. Peter Bailey put his name on the first printing of this, and it infuriated Bill Graham, and they had to go back to press. And but this is like a mint copy. It's still a one, and it's the story of Bill Graham and where it all started. This poster has never reached the levels that I thought it ought to, but it's still there aren't many of them. I don't I guess the simple design, and Peter Bailey was responsible for a bunch of posters early on. He did the Trips Festival poster and a few here and there, but the poster thing evolved quite a bit from this point.
Right, right.
And
Well,
so it's
cool.
yes, of course. The Jefferson Airplane were about to become a big deal too. And this Grateful Dead 9/8 notice poster, which is, if you're building a Grateful Dead collection, essential. This was one of the posters early on, before the internet and before the art of rock, that Dead collectors were looking for. And I remember seeing a copy before any, I was even aware of all this, and it was important. It's 68, Grateful Dead with Quicksilver, Old West motif, beautiful piece.
Is this one from Ashland?
It is
Um,
Southern
yeah,
Oregon College Gym.
that's so random. It's like a very small
It's a
town.
tiny town, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tiny
Um,
towns in Oregon, and this was all these posters were from Oregon, yeah.
yeah. Well, that is just, I guess, 11 of the 73 posters, of which there, like I said, we could have talked about all of them.
And we couldn't get to Bootsy Collins. I wanted to talk about the Bootsy Collins poster, but yeah,
And
next
there's
time.
plenty more
Yeah.
CGC posters and, all of your favorite things all in one auction. Again, bidding is going to end on Sunday, June 7th at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Links to bid are in the description below me. And thank you so much for tuning in, watching us get excited about your favorite hobby and ours. And we'll be back as soon as we can be.
Cheers.
See you soon.